everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining us for episode 197 of In Focus Friday, the show where we take a good close look at cool things made of silver and gold. And this week we are definitely doing that with the latest Rwandan Nautical series, the 2020 Mayflower. Absolutely stunning addition to a wonderful series, one that is a big favourite here in the Backyard Bullion household. Both myself and Mrs. Backyard Bullion are really enamoured by this series, and we're very, very happy to be able to continue it, especially with the gold only having a mintage of just 100, a micro mintage. We've also got the silver BU version here today, so we're going to have a good look at this, the series, the coin, talk a little bit about the Mayflower, learn about the Mayflower, wonderful history there. And also we're going to chop one of these silvers out of its original mint packaging so that you can see what they look like outside of it, because there is a distinct difference in the way that it looks out of that. In addition, we've also got a couple of other gold coins on the table here. In fact, we've got a fourth one as well. My OCD wouldn't let me have two on one side and one on the other. But we now have four of these wonderful gold coins, so we're going to have a quick look at the series to date. So a great many things to get through here today, and we hope that it will provide you all a little bit of enjoyment. And if you do like this video as we go along, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. In addition, last thing before we crack on looking at the Mayflower, we are bringing back the In Focus Friday votes. So at the end of today's episode, there will be three items, there we go, that you can look at and cast your eye over, and indeed a vote on what you want to see next time. So you guys choose the content. Make sure you stick around and cast a vote at the end of today's episode. So first up, let's just have a quick goosey gander at the wonderful gold. And this is the display box that it comes in. Now I'm not going to shut this completely because it's one of the most gorgeous, lovely display boxes. It's really very, very nice indeed, but it's very poorly designed because when you push the coin right down into this little slot here, it's very, very hard to get out. There's no little scoop on it to get your finger underneath, and it's almost impossible. You have to basically pry it out with something, and that's obviously going to potentially damage the capsule. So design flaw is probably the only thing that's wrong with this coin series. So we've now got four of these boxes. There's loads of them over here outside of frame. And yeah, they're, fantastic display, lovely coin. Just a little bit of a shame that the box is not perfect. It comes with a certificate of authenticity here, which we'll just have a very brief look at. Not going to go into too much detail as there's not a great deal on there. Would have been nice to see a little bit more of a in-depth COA with some history about the coin and the design, the Mayflower perhaps, but you can see all of the particulars there. The gold, as you can see, mintage, just 100, tiny, tiny mintage. Really, really micro mintage, which I've talked a little bit about in the past before, about whether that's actually going to hinder this as a potential coin for profit in the future, because there just aren't enough reference sales out there to know what it should be priced at on the market, certainly on the second-hand market. That said, it is still, in my books, a really, really lovely coin, and you've got to look at this as a proof-style coin purchase for premium growth on. You don't buy this for a investment in the gold because it's a very expensive piece of gold. That said, the premium in terms of percentage has actually come down relative to the price of the raw price of gold each time I've purchased these, which is a really interesting thing. So in other words, it represents a little bit more of a better deal over that percentage of sort of spot price, but still very expensive and not for the faint of heart. And you see these being exploited somewhat by dealers when they have, say, they'll have, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 in their allocation, and the first one they sell will be at $2,500, second one $2,600, $800, $3,000, $3,500. I think I saw one dealer trying to sell them for $4,000 at one point. So there's definitely issues around sort of the price points from dealers. Talked about that in the past, don't really want to go too much more in depth in that right now. As you all can agree, though, it is a simply stunning, stunning coin. And the theme for all of these, as you can see, is nautical, celebrating famous ships throughout history. And there is arguably no less famous ship in the world than the Mayflower. Of course, it being the ship that brought the Pilgrims across the Atlantic to modern-day Massachusetts. I think it was, what was it? I think it was Provincetown Harbour, that's the one. Provincetown Harbour in November 1620. So we're in the 400th year anniversary of that sailing and that landing, which I think is, a great coincidence. Whether it was planned, I don't know. But again, really, really steeped in history, this ship, and it's a fantastic commemoration of that. So we can definitely see all of the wondrous details of the ship there, the rigging, and it's the same with all of these different coins. The design, harks to the other Rwandan series coins with this circle around the outside, and obviously the nautical ounce there, 2020, 1 ounce fine gold, 3 nines, the ship design in the middle. I absolutely love this compass design with the nautical equipment there, the sextant at the top and the telescope. Just all fantastic, high quality finish. And it's amazing that this is not deemed a proof coin, because it really has such a wonderful finish that one might argue that it is a proof. With only a mintage of 100 as well, it's amazing that they just didn't call it a proof, because the amount of money that it would cost to have the die made just for one run of 100 coins would be far, you might as well just make it a proof, I guess what I'm trying to say. Rwanda is the interesting kind of bank of choice there. Now, I've done a bit of digging and I seem to find a few people saying this is made by the BH Mayer Mint in Germany, with the Rwandan government bank as the backer for the country. It's rather ironic because Rwanda is a completely landlocked country, so to have a nautical series coming out of a landlocked country is always interesting. But I'm not really too bothered about it. I mean, it's become synonymous with quality. The Rwandan coins are fantastic. The Lunar series, the African Wildlife series, they are brilliant. And, this series has, I think, taken off quite a lot. The silver versions, let's have a look at those now. The silver versions are, of course, what fuels a lot of the market for these, and they are really, really attractive coins. You can definitely see the high quality even for these BU versions. Now, there are silver proof versions which I've steered clear of because I don't think that those are necessarily as good a buy, certainly as the gold. With a micro mintage of just 100, the gold really wins out for me in terms of trying to make a profit on them. The silver versions at 4 times spot price, that's again a huge premium that you're not likely to recoup. Now, I did say earlier in the video that I was going to chop one of these out of its original mint packaging, so here we go. I'm going to do this one here. No particular rhyme or reason as to which one I'm choosing, just fancied that one. And the reason I'm doing this, and I have done this with all of the other iterations that I've taken, is that I do think there is a distinct look and feel difference to them out of the OMP. And I've slid it here into a capsule because I don't really want to touch it with bare hands, but it is arguably so much nicer out of its capsule and out of its OMP. Just look at that. Absolutely gleaming in the sun here. Really stunning. And you can just imagine that being out on the Atlantic Ocean. Absolutely incredible. Oh, it's just glorious. And you can definitely see the difference between the two. It just shines better. It has that luster and that feel. And even the sort of matte finish side of the coin, it just leaps out more from the coin, in my opinion. This plastic, whilst doesn't have massive amounts of texturing, it does affect that, and I very much prefer these out of the OMP. Now, if we just flip this around as well, you'll see that even on the reverse with the Bank of Rwanda there, it does have a distinct look and feel difference in its gleam and its radiance. I love it outside of the capsule, and if it's one of these things with coins, isn't it? Because you get these coins and you absolutely love them. You want to keep them as pristine as possible, but you also want to enjoy them as much as possible. So having them in a capsule is great, but even in a capsule with this top on here, it does take away a little bit of that luster. And I kind of wish that somebody would invent a coin that you could hold and keep in absolutely pristine, perfect condition without having to have it in a capsule or OMP. Maybe that's something for the future for somebody to become a billionaire with. But I absolutely love this series. The Mayflower, let's talk a little bit about that because it is a fantastic history. Now, which one is there? It's the Mayflower. Yeah, those are the two there, the silver and gold next to each other. So one of the themes of this whole series is famous ships throughout history. And as I said earlier, the Mayflower has no smaller place in history than being one of the world's most famous ships. And it's steeped in history, being that ship that took the pilgrims from Southampton and Plymouth here in the United Kingdom all the way, England at the time, all the way to Massachusetts. To Provincetown. I keep saying Princetown Harbour. It's Provincetown Harbour, and they set up, of course, the first colony, the Plymouth colony. Really steeped in history, 400 years worth of history. It's as old as America gets, and it's really, really interesting to see that coin that ship commemorated here on this coin, especially in the 400-year anniversary. Now, I'm not an American historian. I don't know my American history too well, so rather than butchering it with sort of limited research from Wikipedia and history.com, I'm not going to butcher that story, but it's a fantastic story that I've enjoyed reading about and learning about. I didn't know much of the history of that period of of American history, and it really is quite interesting. So I'd highly recommend that you go and research it. But it was a voyage, fraught with dangers. The ship had to sail at a time of year notorious for storms. The passengers and crew were ghastly seasickness all the way. When they arrived, it was winter, and there was not a great deal of shelter and stores of food, so they had to borrow food from the natives. Some argue they stole food from natives, from native villagers. They basically spent the entire winter on the ship because they couldn't get their shelters built on land. And then in 1621, they finally founded a settlement, and the rest is kind of history. And there was disease, and I think something like 54 of the colonists died within that first year, and it was obviously very, very fraught with danger at that period of history. The Mayflower itself has a bit of an interesting kind of history to it because nobody really knows its fate. Some say it was basically chopped up for timber at some point. Others say it crossed the Atlantic a number of other times to bring goods and passengers to and fro. But there were other ships in history called the Mayflower, and also there was a ship built in 1957 to commemorate that crossing, a reproduction, a sort of a historical reproduction, which I think is really interesting. So anyway, that's the sort of history of the Mayflower, and it does bring a really nice rounding to this stunning, stunning series. And rather than pick all 4 of these coins up and potentially drop them, because I really would not like to drop these, I'm just going to put them on the table and have a proper zoom in, and we can really admire these coins in all of their glory. And I would like to know which ones of these you think is the best of all of them. I love this Mayflower. I have to say it is probably one of my top, well, it's my top 2. It's that between the Mayflower and the Victoria here. They're both stunning. I kind of feel like the Mayflower is the winner for me. The Santa Maria, the first one, is also really good too. It's I don't know. It's really hard to pick your favourites. It's like trying to choose your favourite child out of the lot of them. We really do love these series. Love this coin in this series. We can get all 4 in frame there. So I don't know. I'm going to have to give it to the Mayflower, Victoria, probably the Santa Maria then, and the Endeavour, I would say. Yeah, I think that's my order of preference, but each of them are absolutely glorious, and I really do love them. So that is the Rwandan Nautical series. I have been struggling to find out whether this is it for the series, whether or not there will be more. I do not know at this time whether there will be or not, and it's very hard to find that information. So if anybody knows or can tell me if there is going to be any more of them, then do please feel free to comment down below in the comment section of this video. It'd be very interesting to find out if there is going to be a 5th in the series. I did hear somebody say at one point there'd be 10, but then I've heard a few people say that no, it's just going to be 4 in the series. So it's a little bit of an interesting one up in the air in my mind as to quite how many there will be. So do let us know your thoughts on the series generally, whether you have them. I would be very intrigued to know your thoughts. I know there's not going to be a lot of people out there who have the gold ones, but let me know your thoughts on the gold ones and whether or not they would be something for you in the future, even if you perhaps don't want to grab them now. Interesting times ahead for this series for sure. Now, I did say at the start of the video that we would be bringing a vote in for next week's episodes. So we've got some really cool items fresh in from Europe for you to have a look at and vote on. The first up, Rise of the Dinosaurs. I will try and get this pronunciation right one day. Coeliophysis rhodensis. Dinosaur, really cool piece, and it's a little bit lopsided, but we'll get it right at some point. A 2-ounce Kraken, and then another nautical themed coin, the latest Black Flag series. Really cool pieces. So let me know which of those 3 you'd like to see in next week's episode of In Focus Friday. Otherwise, if you've enjoyed today's video, please do hit the thumbs up button and share it around on your social media. That would be very helpful for everything that we do here on the channel. Otherwise, that's it from us. Thank you all for watching. Have a fantastic weekend ahead. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.